Hi everybody, this is Godsgirlg G. Thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. And for those of you returning to this channel to watch this video and you are not already subscribed, I'm going to encourage you to do so by clicking the subscribe icon below. And if during the course of this video you hear something that you like, click the thumbs up, comment below, or better yet, share this video with someone who you feel could benefit from its information. With that stated, let's get into today's discussion. Today's video, as indicated by its title, it's all about anxiety. Now, anxiety is not all that simple because it's often misunderstood that the person is just stressing out a little too much. But I'm here to tell you that anxiety is not the same thing as stress. We all experience difficulty and challenges every day. That's stress. Anxiety is internalized stress. It develops from an anxious mindset and perhaps triggered by being overloaded with too much stress. To be anxious is to fixate yourself on troubles. You feel restless, agitated, or burdened. And if the anxiety is intense, then your body is uncomfortable and your mind will not slow down. This makes it hard for you to relax, sometimes even at bedtime. You may have fears, nightmares, or flashbacks. There are many other ways that anxiety can manifest. Perhaps you might have trouble saying no to people, feeling like you need to please them. You may feel insecure and have low self-esteem. You may struggle with perfectionism, overworking, or hurry sickness along. And yes, chronically being in a hurry is a problem. Anxiety is both, believe it or not, a mental health issue and a spiritual issue. And I understand some of you may be looking at the screen at me a little side-eyed because I described it as a spiritual issue as well. But let me explain. At the core of anxiety is the word fear. Fear over the unknown and the belief that specific things in your life are important. The Bible teaches values that promote less anxiety because it runs counter to the issues that cause anxiety. Proverbs 12:25 says, "Anxiety weighs the heart down, but a kind word cheers it up." And scriptures describe the struggles of people who struggle with anxiety. Even though they were faithful servants of God, these people did not suffer because they were sinners. They suffered because they were human and susceptible to severe pressures. Even kings suffered from anxiety. King David was a man after God's own heart. He was Israel's most illustrious king, a giant killer from his youth. But yet he was a man given to anxiety amid his sufferings. As related in some of the Psalms that he wrote, the anxieties of David stem from any of several causes. So if you've ever been anxious, you know the symptoms: faintness of heart, endless days, sleepless nights, tears, obsessive fear, and numbness, just to name a few. As you read the Psalms, you'll realize that King David experienced many of the same anxieties. Yet during his anxiety, David was still able to sing praises to God. Psalms 139, verses 23 and 24 says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there's any offensive way in me, and lead me to the way of everlasting." Now, it's essential to start any discussion off regarding tips on how to cope with anxiety with a disclaimer. And that disclaimer is this: seeing a physician, counselor, or therapist may be a critical first step in dealing with the issue. Therapy plus Jesus can equal healing. I'm just saying. With that disclaimer in mind, let's get into some tips on how to cope and deal with anxiety. Tip 1, prayer, scripture reading, and meditation. The goal with spiritual disciplines like prayer, Bible reading, memorization, And meditation is helpful for us to fulfill what was spoken about in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Now, it's not always easy to turn off anxious thoughts, but we can get better at turning our attention to the Lord and filling our minds with ideas that offer us peace, especially if we commit, setting aside time dedicated to prayer and meditation. Tip 2, improve your diet. Anxiety can zap your energy for simple self-care. Just because you suffer from anxiety doesn't mean you self-medicate with drugs or alcohol. But you might turn to snacks and comfort food. As the body gets more sluggish due to anxiety, you may turn to caffeine to keep going. Junk food might make you feel good when you're eating it, but it can be detrimental to your mood in the long run. Meanwhile, caffeine ramps up anxiety. So watch your diet. Tip 3, exercise. Regular physical activity is one of the most profound, mood-altering things we can do. It can be as simple as taking a regular walk around the block. Not only does exercise help reduce anxiety, it can also help you sleep better at night. 4, find people that you can talk to. Find 1 or 2 people you can trust to talk about your struggles. Getting some of these feelings out of your system can help you do a better job at processing them. 5, know what sets you off or know what triggers you. Getting to know your triggers can be really helpful. If you know that watching the news sends you into a fit of anxiety, you should cut back on your news watching. If social media sets you on edge, set up boundaries in that area. If you're not sure of what your triggers are, talk to some people close to you. Sometimes a spouse, parent, or even a child might understand your problem areas better than you. Now, I recognize that following every one of these tips is not necessarily going to fix your anxiety problem. These tips are most helpful, especially if you couple them with therapeutic intervention. For those of you who have friends and family members who struggle with anxiety, remember that no one can just turn off their feelings. And it's not always as easy as casting your cares up on God because He cares for you. Many people need time, practice, and above all, support from others and knowledge on how to truly do this. If you are struggling with anxiety in one form or another, I hope that this video has provided you a glimmer of hope. The tips shared are only a few things that you can do to help with your anxiety and should not necessarily be presumed as a one-size-fits-all. Know that what you have gone through with your experiences with anxiety have not been in vain. God always uses experiences in our lives to draw us closer to Him. Thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Bye.